like, first of all, she lies about her hair because she ain't got no hair, no edges. And then she lies about men and how she gets men. And I'm like, Kendra has been single.
So here's the situation. Kendra G recently made an appearance at the Essence Festival, and she wasn't alone. She was seen alongside a man known as I Am Truth Hers. Now, I've actually been following this brother on social media for a minute, and I have to say, I respect what he's building. He carries himself as someone repping Philadelphia to the fullest, putting in real work out here. Shout out to him for that, because he's genuinely doing something positive. From what's been shared publicly, his story includes some time behind bars, and since then, he's turned his life around and is working on building something meaningful for himself. But here's where things take a turn. Tasha K, who's had ongoing tension with Kendra G ever since a public falling out roughly 2 years ago, caught wind of this moment between Kendra G and I Am Truth Hers. And before we get into exactly what Tasha K had to say about it, take a look at this first.
That could be a challenge too, because we'll get women that literally do make $300,000, literally does have her own home. So now that's her requirement for a man. And if you go as a man, sometimes that man that matches her wage doesn't always select her in a romantic way.
For a woman that wants a high value man, a lot of those women are going to confuse leadership with control. He's going to come in and provide structure. And a lot of self-sufficient women refuse to acclimate when a man comes in that house and provides leadership.
Now, what this whole exchange really boils down to is a debate that's been around forever. What men want in relationships versus what women want in relationships. But let's get more specific than that. We're talking about Black professionals within a particular income bracket. And if you look at how this dynamic breaks down, Kendra G represents successful, financially independent Black women, while I Am Truth Hurts seems to be speaking from the male side of that same conversation. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to call yourself a relationship coach, certain qualifications probably need to come with that title. For one, you should actually be in a relationship yourself. And beyond that, your own life should be able to hold up under scrutiny, meaning you're not tangled up in situations like the ones connected to Derek Jackson, who's faced cheating allegations in the past. And you're not doing what Dr. Siobhan Bryant was accused of either, which, from what's been said, involved misrepresenting her academic credentials. That's likely part of why she wasn't invited to this event to begin with. So that's the real issue underneath all of this. But then Tasha K brought up something else entirely.
She made our tour. I had some information on her during our last tour, and I graced her. I gave her grace. I didn't want to put it out while she was with the scammer, you know? So I took it on tour. And so I saw her and Truth Hurts on the Essence stage. I'm not gonna tell you what the comments were. It was a great thing. People from social media, even though she comes from radio, made the Essence stage, but you know, I just wish that Essence would just do a little bit more homework before they start putting these people in y'all face, because it says 1 million on Instagram, but when you look at the views, or the truth behind the views, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Now, this next point actually holds some weight, and honestly, I find myself agreeing with it. If you check out Kendra G's YouTube channel, you'll see she's sitting around 1 million subscribers, but a large portion of that growth comes from content driven by the guests who appear on her show, not necessarily from Kendra G herself. In other words, people aren't always tuning in because it's Kendra G. They're tuning in for whoever the guest happens to be that day. So in a way, that subscriber count can be a little misleading, almost like the system's being worked in her favor. And when you actually look at the engagement and view numbers on a channel with 1 million subscribers, they don't quite add up the way you'd expect. The reason the numbers fluctuate so much from video to video largely comes down to the unpredictability of who's going to show up as a guest. Now compare that to someone like Tasha K. Her numbers tend to stay far more consistent, which makes sense given that her audience is showing up specifically for her. But Kendra G carries herself like the audience is there for her, like she's the one driving the content, when the numbers suggest something different. It's a similar situation with Anton Daniels. No disrespect to him personally, but a lot of how his channel and career have been built comes down to reaction content. He'll let a video play out while someone else does most of the talking, and he's there off to the side for a couple of minutes while the real conversation happens around him. So when you look at his following, which sits around 1.46 million, his actual view counts tell a very different story, sometimes dropping as low as 36,000. He rarely breaks past 200,000 or 300,000 views on a long-form video, and that's largely because people aren't necessarily tuning in for Anton specifically. The numbers get a boost from whoever else is on screen. You'll notice the same pattern with his Millionaire Morning Show, where he rarely pulls more than 40,000 viewers on a stream. So, as mentioned, when you compare their numbers side by side, they don't reflect the kind of genuine audience loyalty that Tasha K's numbers do. And that brings us to the second point, which was...
This here, I'm like, first of all, Truth Hurts doesn't lead anyone. His wife does, okay? And his wife is the foundation of that home, and she pays for him and his lifestyle, as well as the hoes that he spends money on. You know, we actually have an interview. Did we just run that trailer? We just ran that trailer? Yeah, the side chick. I ain't even put her name out. I ain't even put the chick name out. He said, when he said life was stupendous, I said, and the irony of you sitting up trying to give women advice on how they should be for men when you out here still cheating. That ain't no allegedly, y'all. This is no different than Fresh and Fit being on the Essence.
According to Tasha K, I Am Truth Hurts doesn't actually live up to the provider image that's been such a central part of his public story. Now again, I want to be clear, I can't personally verify how accurate this is, and I don't know him on a personal level. Like I said before, I've genuinely appreciated his content and what he's been building. But Tasha K claims she has receipts suggesting he's been unfaithful to his wife, and that's really the core of her issue with him. The allegation that he's been using money from their shared business to pursue other women. She's also claiming there's an upcoming interview with a woman who's reportedly going to speak directly on this alleged infidelity. Now let me say this on behalf of brothers in his position. I don't necessarily see him as someone who panders to one side or the other. From what I've observed, he actually comes across as pretty polarizing across the board, someone who doesn't seem overly concerned with picking a side just to please people. So I wouldn't call him a pander type. I think he just speaks based on how he genuinely feels in the moment. That said, I'm sure being in the relationship space brings a lot of temptation his way. And when you've built an audience that large while being a married man, staying disciplined has got to be difficult. I don't know whether he and his wife have some kind of private understanding about this, but even if that were the case, assuming any of these allegations hold up, people within the relationship coaching industry, especially those operating in corporate spaces, typically aren't going to be forgiving about it. And once you're partnering with something like Essence, you're operating on a corporate level. That means there's a different standard you're expected to maintain. When you're aligned with brands like BET, Ebony, or Essence, brands that resonate specifically with Black women, you really can't afford to have those kinds of allegations following you, whether your wife is fine with it privately or not. It just doesn't work in that world. Then,
she lies about her hair because she ain't got no hair, no edges. And then she lies about men and how she gets men. And I'm like, Kendra has been single her entire life. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, they ain't put her on there just because for the simple fact, you know, of the doctor controversy. But had that doctor controversy never came out, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant would have been on that stage. As the program festival organizers, they look at the IG numbers and they say, oh, they got 1 million, so they'll sell tickets. I don't know a person in their right mind that's gonna take relationship advice from either one of these grifters. Now, Oprah done gave Kendra G a show to teach y'all how to get a man, but she ain't got no man yet.
Now, this last allegation shifts into more personal territory, touching on comments about Kendra G's appearance, specifically remarks about her hair, though that's really not the part worth focusing on. The actual point Tasha K raised is that Kendra G landed a show through Oprah's network and is now positioning herself as qualified to coach women on relationships, despite that background. And here's how this tends to play out in entertainment. A lot of it comes down to connections rather than substance. It's often more about networking and chasing opportunities than delivering real value. That's how you end up with inflated social media numbers, industry ties, and deals falling into place. But eventually, you actually have to deliver results, and if a show or a series underperforms, that can seriously damage future opportunities in the industry. From what I've seen of Kendra G's dating show setup, along with some of the criticism the app itself has drawn, I'm not convinced there's been much real investment behind it.
and I genuinely question whether there's a large enough audience actually tuning in. I can't say for certain, but here's the thing. Just because someone's numbers look inflated on paper doesn't mean people will actually show up to watch. Because if you study engagement patterns on platforms like Instagram, audiences tend to respond to authenticity, not just follower counts. And if this show ends up flopping, which is a real possibility, that's simply the reality of it. At the end of the day, Black America operates a lot like most other markets. It's heavily driven by clout and connections, and honestly, that's not too different from what I've seen here in Africa either. Kendra G puts in a certain level of real work, and so does I Am Truth hers. But a lot of this industry still comes down to clout chasing more than anything else. Anton, for example, builds his numbers off static engagement, and Kendra G follows a similar pattern. As for I Am Truth hers, I honestly can't speak to him with the same certainty. From what I've seen of his content, he actually comes across as the most genuine and legitimate out of the group. But at the end of the day, you can only ride the fake it till you make it wave for so long before it catches up with you. Because eventually, at a certain level of visibility, your life becomes public whether you like it or not. And that approach becomes harder and harder to sustain. So, what's your take on all this? Do you think Kendra G is overreaching? Is Tasha K telling the truth here, or is she off base? Drop your thoughts in the comments, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.